From the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for Inbox. We take your email questions and answer them right here. Let's get right to it, Barry. This one comes from Trent. He says, the legend of the Boz seems similar to Money Manziel. New nickname for Johnny Manziel. What are the similarities and differences from the Boz and Money?
Well, it's an absolutely great question, Trent. I love the question. It made me think. And obviously, it's not completely similar situations. The Boz was a self-promoter more than an NCAA rule breaker. But he was a guy that stood out of the box, sort of brought the spotlight on himself. At the end of his career, breaks NCAA rules with the steroid failure. So this is it's a great question. And what it makes me do is this. When you were an OU fan in the 80s, everybody loved the Boz. They thought he was the greatest thing of all time. They thought he was a great iconoclast. Everybody else in college football says, what is this clown doing? Similar to what we see now with A&M, although, I detect a little bit of Manziel fatigue from Aggie fans, but still, the A&M nation has wrapped its arms around Manziel, protecting him from the chancellor down, and everybody else is saying, what's with this clown? Similar in that way with Brian Bosworth.
You know, I wasn't here during the time of Brian Bosworth, but from what I've sort of gathered as I've talked to people about him and sort of heard the stories, the Boz was a character, was created. Brian Bosworth was separate from the Boz, and so the Boz was sort of his alter ego, if you will. I don't think Johnny Manziel is playing around. I think this is who Johnny Manziel is. I don't think this is some sort of act. I don't think that he's putting on some sort of character. I think this is who he is. And to me, that's a big difference, Barry. You were here during the Bosworth time. And
you nailed it.
Yeah, to me, that's the biggest difference, is that Boz could turn it on and off. Johnny Manziel, I think this is just who he is. All right, back to the inbox, and this one from Joel. Joel says, another Johnny Manziel question here. Johnny Manziel reminds me of John McEnroe in his prime. Extremely gifted and extremely bratty. Different sports and different eras, but both so much better and instinctive than their peers that they need controversy to keep them interested. What about that, Barry?
Well, that's another interesting comparison, and I love this whole who is Johnny Manziel in the pantheon of sports history. Now, I don't think Johnny Manziel is signing autographs for hundreds and thousands of dollars to keep himself interested. I think he's doing it for the cash. Here's the difference between John McEnroe and Johnny Manziel. John McEnroe or Jimmy Connors or any of the tennis, Eli Nastase, any of the old bad boys of tennis that made the sport so interesting as opposed to now, all those guys, it was on their own. It was just them. An individual sport and a team sport are so